Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Blank Drawings podcast. I know it's been a while. I know it's been months, literally, almost a year, to be fair. Um, Basically, I have not had a free day for the past 10 months. And that's the that's the result of having a lot of work to do, which I'm grateful for. You'll hear no complaints from me. And yeah, but I just wanted to pop in and just talk about something that is very dear to my heart in terms of something that I know affects a lot of us in the creative industry. And it's essentially this imposter syndrome, this feeling of being less than. And it's something that I've spoken about before, but you know what they say, that you learn something new every day, and it's something that I have wrestled with personally. Obviously, I wouldn't be able to speak about it unless it was something that I was experiencing or have experienced. And I just like to have anybody who is listening to this just understand that it's not a matter of you not being enough. It's a matter of comparison being thief of joy, essentially. When you compare your version of success to anybody else's, it's never gonna look the same. And that's what makes it special. Because if your version of success was the exact same version that everybody else has, then what makes it different? What makes it special? What makes it unique? You know? At the end of the day, the one thing that you want is happiness that's personal. You want a situation whereby you're happy with looking back at some of your work and being like, okay, this wasn't all that great. But the fact that you see what you are doing now and you can say, oh, okay, this is a lot better, that's growth. And you have to be able to appreciate that for yourself. And you have to be able to acknowledge the fact that, okay, I'm actually growing here. I may not be able to see it for myself in terms of the daily rigmarole of everything that's going on, but over time, I can see that I'm growing. And sometimes you have to make intentional steps to actually make that growth. But the truth of the matter is, experience in itself, just experiencing things, just going through dealing with clients, dealing with expenses, dealing with maybe it's a supervisor that's making it difficult for you at work or something like that. It may not seem like it at that moment, but it's something that does help you in the future because you have thicker skin now. Again, nobody wants to go through a situation like that. And my heart goes out to the people that are going through situations like that. But just hopefully listening right now is something that can certainly help you in the sense that in the future, you'll be better for it. You know, perhaps you're going to be someone who's your own boss at some point. Now you know the stuff that you're not supposed to do. Now you know exactly what it is that you're not supposed to do when you're in a position of power. Now you know how it feels when you are the person who's being led, but then the person who's leading you is not exactly the most sympathetic person in the world. You know, we all have those stories and those experiences and such. And not to belittle anybody's experience, we are gonna go through those things and we're gonna learn from them, and then we're gonna be a better person for it. Because ultimately, that's what the journey is about. A lot of people get caught up in what they want to achieve without really thinking about the journey that they have to go through for them to actually get to that. You know, you want to be a world-class designer. That's great. You're gonna get a lot of rejections though. That's just part of the journey. It becomes part and parcel of the journey. You're not always gonna have it smooth sailing. There's gonna be a situation whereby you get a client that tests you to the absolute limit, and you have to keep your composure. Because at the end of the day, you want to maintain a good reputation for yourself. That's something that does happen. I've experienced that myself, of course. I don't think it's possible for you to be a designer, to be a creative, and actually go through the creative journey which is, by the way, lifelong learning. In case there was anyone thinking that they're going to clock the creative journey, that's not really how it works. It's lifelong learning, you know. I've been listening to a lot of TED Talks. I've been listening to quite a couple of audiobooks, and one thing in common of all the greats that I've listened to, of all the great people that have managed to achieve great things, none of them are the same. Like, this sounds counterintuitive, but none of them are the same. All of them have some specific quirk about them that makes them different, makes them unique, you know? Because perhaps they managed to identify a gap in the market, and then they managed to make a lot of money. There's something about them that makes them different. And again, on that idea that everybody's version of success is different, I remember his name is failing me at the moment, but there was this TED Talk I was listening to about this gentleman, and he was struggling with discipline and focus, and so he wanted a way in which he could actually be able to focus, be able to be more disciplined. And I know that's something that a lot of people do struggle with as well. You're not alone. If you're listening to this and you feel that way, you're most certainly not alone. And he ended up breaking world records for knitting, for is it yarn, if I'm not mistaken. His story in particular just made me realize that at no point in time did he ever talk about money through that. Yes, he has a business, he's got all these things that he can label as wealth and stuff, but at no point in time did he consider that a success for him. Again, for someone on the outside looking in, he'll be like, that's not success. But then who are you to say? You know, you can't be on the outside looking in and then just tell someone that this is what makes you successful. It has to be an inside job. You have to know what it is that is going to make you successful. If it's maybe creating a solution for something that you've experienced in the past, by all means, go for it. Take the baby steps that you have to on a daily basis. You know, breaking down big tasks into something that is more bite-sized and manageable always makes it a bit easier to achieve. Because Rome wasn't built in a day, and I know that sounds like a cliche, but it really wasn't. You have to go brick by brick, and sometimes it's difficult to see the big picture when all you've got is the little picture. You know, that sounded poetic. It sounded terribly poetic. I should trademark that if I can. Anyway, moving on. My point is, you have to stand by what your version of success is. And it's okay if your version of success doesn't look the same as everybody else's. Because you have different situations, you have different issues that you're dealing with as a creative, as a human being. One of the things that I set out when it comes to this podcast is I want to help people as best as I can, you know, through my own experiences, through some of the things that I've gone through, some of the things that I continue to experience, you know, and hopefully listening to this relatively short iteration of the Blank Drawings podcast that has been MIA for the best part of 10 months. Again, apologies for that. I am going to do my best just to make sure that I produce more episodes as we go. But I really hope that listening to this does help someone. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions, any issues that you'd like for us to discuss in the future or to talk about. I've been considering having people on, having some guests on. I do have quite a couple of people in mind. That would be really quite interesting, I'm sure. And I'm definitely looking forward to being able to produce that in the future. And hopefully it's something that you enjoy. Yeah, drop a like, subscribe. Definitely love that. It really does help out. But this has been a shorter version of the Blank Drawings podcast, and hopefully it helps. Remember to take care of yourself. Cheers.